Sometimes, the most extraordinary moments begin with the simplest of questions. This story isn't just about Elon Musk, the tech mogul who dreams of Mars colonies and electric cars zipping across our cities. It's about a young girl with more courage in her voice than most adults carry in their hearts. Her name? Maya. Maya was only 16, but if you met her, you'd think she had lived 100 lives already. She was sharp, confident, and carried a spark in her eyes that made people stop and listen when she spoke. Maya wasn't someone who let opportunities pass her by. Raised by her single mother in a small apartment in Atlanta, Maya had grown up surrounded by big dreams but limited resources. Her mother worked 2 jobs, one at a local diner and another cleaning offices late at night just to keep the lights on and food on the table. But despite the struggles, their home was always filled with laughter, hope, and most importantly, ambition. One evening, Maya was scrolling through her phone, watching clips of Elon Musk speaking at a tech event. There he was, standing on stage with his slightly awkward charm, talking about SpaceX, Tesla, and how failure was just another stepping stone to success. Maya leaned closer to the screen, mesmerized. And then she said something out loud, almost to herself. "Why can't I work for him? Why not me?" Her mom, who was folding laundry nearby, stopped and looked at her daughter. "If you want something, baby, you've got to go out there and ask for it." Now, most people might take that advice and sit on it for months, letting fear creep in and hold them back. But Maya? Nope. The very next day, she did something wild. She found out Elon Musk would be attending a conference in Austin, Texas. And guess who decided to go? That's right, Maya. Armed with her mother's encouragement, a borrowed suitcase, and a heart pounding with nerves and excitement, Maya boarded a bus to Texas. Her mother hugged her tight at the station, whispering in her ear, "Make them remember your name, baby girl." When Maya arrived at the conference, she realized she was surrounded by professionals, people in expensive suits, carrying laptops, and speaking in polished corporate lingo. Maya, in her simple dress and sneakers, stuck out like a sore thumb. But that didn't matter to her. As Elon Musk stepped onto the stage, the crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed, people cheered, and the energy in the room was electric. Maya found herself sitting in the second row, her hands clutching a small notepad where she had written down exactly what she wanted to say. And then it happened. During the Q&A session, Elon Musk casually said, "Next question, please." Maya's hand shot up. It wasn't just confidence, it was pure determination. Elon paused, squinted at the sea of hands in front of him, and pointed straight at her. "You there, in the front row. Go ahead." The room went silent. Maya stood up. Her voice was steady, but her heart was racing like a rocket ship about to launch. "Mr. Musk, my name is Maya. I'm 16, and I came all the way from Atlanta to ask you one question. How does someone like me, a young black girl from a small neighborhood, get a chance to work with someone like you?" The crowd gasped softly. Some people smiled. Others stared. And Elon Musk? Well, his reaction was not what anyone expected. And that is where the real story begins. The room held its breath. It wasn't just Maya's boldness that had stunned the crowd, it was the question itself. In a sea of people trying to impress the billionaire with their business ideas, technical jargon, and clever pitches, here was this young girl, standing before one of the richest men in the world. Asking for something pure, a chance. A moment to be seen. For a split second, Elon Musk didn't move. His eyes locked onto Maya, and for a brief instant, the world around them seemed to fade away. The spotlight that had been on him just moments before was now solely focused on this brave girl, and for reasons no one could explain, it felt like everyone knew this was a pivotal moment. Not just for Maya, but for Elon, too. Then, to everyone's surprise, Elon smiled, a big, genuine smile that spread across his face. It wasn't the usual tech CEO grin that you see in interviews or the awkward half-smile when someone says something weird. This smile was different. It was the smile of a man who saw something in this young girl, something special, something he couldn't ignore. He stepped forward to the microphone, his voice soft but full of curiosity. "You know, that's the kind of question I don't hear often," Elon began, his words slow, deliberate. "Most people come here asking about rockets and electric cars, but you want to work with me." Maya nodded. Her heart thumped in her chest. She didn't know what to say, so she just let her eyes meet his. Elon paused again, scanning the room, his expression shifting from intrigue to something deeper, like he was truly reflecting on the moment. People waited for the punchline, the snarky billionaire response. But instead, Elon took a deep breath and said something that left the entire crowd speechless. "You know what? I like your guts, Maya. I really do." A murmur rippled through the crowd. People whispered, wondering if he was serious or just playing along. But Maya wasn't listening to the noise. She was focused on him, her eyes wide, her breath caught in her throat. Elon continued, still looking at her with a mixture of respect and amusement. "Okay, here's what I'll do. After this event, meet me at the back of the stage. I want to talk to you." The room erupted in a mix of gasps and applause. Some people were shaking their heads in disbelief. Others were already pulling out their phones to tweet about the encounter. But Maya? She felt like she had just been handed the keys to a kingdom. As the event ended, Maya stood there, frozen for a moment. The crowd around her began to disperse, but she didn't move. Her legs felt weak, her head was spinning, and all she could think was, did that really just happen? But she snapped herself out of it. She had made a promise to herself. She was here for a reason. And there was no way she was going to let this moment slip away. Maya rushed backstage, her heart racing with every step. The people behind the curtains were busy preparing for the next session, oblivious to the fact that one of the most life-changing conversations of her life was about to take place. When she finally reached the back of the stage, there he was, Elon Musk, standing by himself, looking over a tablet in his hands. He glanced up as she approached, and for the first time, it was as if he saw her not as a fan, but as someone with potential. "So, Maya," he said, his voice warm and surprisingly down to earth. "Tell me, what do you want to do? What's your big idea?" Maya's mind went blank. Here she was, standing in front of the man who had changed the world in so many ways, and she had no idea how to answer. She was prepared to ask for a job, but now, as the words left her mouth, they didn't sound right. I don't have a big idea," she said, her voice shaking. "I just want to be a part of something bigger than me. I want to learn. I want to help." Elon looked at her, and for a second, she swore she saw something in his eyes, something that wasn't about business or fame or fortune. It was pure human connection. He smiled again, this time more softly, and nodded. "You know, Maya," Elon said, "sometimes the biggest ideas come from people who don't even know they have them yet. Let's start with helping." It wasn't what Maya had expected. There was no job offer on the spot, no grand announcement. But there was something more valuable, a chance to prove herself, to learn, and to be a part of something she'd always dreamed of. As they talked, Maya felt the weight of the moment sink in. This wasn't just a conversation. This was the beginning of something huge, something that would change her life forever. And as she looked at Elon, she realized that sometimes, the universe has a way of throwing the most unexpected opportunities your way if you're brave enough to reach for them. The conversation between Maya and Elon continued, but it wasn't the usual chat you'd expect from a billionaire and a young girl. There were no grand speeches about success or power, no promises of riches or fame. Instead, Elon spoke to Maya like she was an equal, a fellow dreamer in a world filled with endless possibilities. "So, Maya," he said, leaning back slightly, "tell me, what's something you're passionate about? What drives you?" Maya blinked, the question catching her off guard. She had expected him to ask about her qualifications, her skills, or her experience. But no. He wanted to know what made her tick, what lit the fire inside her. She paused, her mind racing. What was she passionate about? Sure, she loved technology, she loved learning about space, and she dreamed of changing the world one day. But what could she say that would make Elon Musk, of all people, take her seriously? After a moment of silence, she took a deep breath. "I'm passionate about helping people, especially my community. My mom has worked so hard to give me everything, but I know so many people who never get that chance. I want to make a difference. I want to help people who are overlooked and make them see that they matter." Elon raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed. "I like that. It's not every day someone your age says something like that. Most people are thinking about themselves, about what they can get. You, though. You're thinking about others." Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had been nervous, unsure if her answer was good enough. But here he was, actually listening, like her words had weight, like they mattered. "So, what's the next step, Elon?" Maya asked, her voice steady now, a sense of confidence building inside her. "What can I do to prove I'm serious?" Elon smiled, and for a brief moment, Maya caught a glimpse of something she hadn't expected, a glint of mischief in his eyes. "Well," he said, leaning in a little, "I have an idea, but it's going to require you to be ready for something unexpected." Maya's heart skipped a beat. What could it be? Was this the moment she'd been waiting for, the chance to prove herself and show Elon Musk that she had what it took to join his empire? "I'm going to give you a challenge," Elon continued, his tone light but serious. "I'm not just handing you an internship or a job like some people might expect. I'm going to test you." Maya's eyes widened. "A test?" she asked, her voice filled with curiosity and a touch of nervousness. "Yes, a test. But it's not going to be easy," Elon said, his eyes locking onto hers. "I want you to find something that no one else has. A problem, a solution, something that can change the world. But here's the catch, I'm not going to give you the tools. You'll have to figure it out on your own." Maya's heart raced. This wasn't what she had expected at all. No handouts. No easy path. Elon wasn't offering her a seat at the table, he was offering her a chance to build her own. "So, you want me to figure something out on my own?" she asked, barely able to believe it. "That's right," Elon said with a grin. "But here's the twist. If you succeed, you'll be working on something that could change the course of history. If you fail, well, let's just say, you'll have learned a lot. Either way, you'll have gained something valuable." Maya stood there, frozen for a moment. She had come here, not knowing what to expect, and now she was faced with something far bigger than she had imagined. A chance to do something incredible, but it came with no guarantees, no promises of success. Just a challenge, a leap of faith, and a belief that she could make it happen. "And what if I don't know where to start?" Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Elon looked at her, his eyes full of something deep, something she couldn't quite place. "That's the point. You don't have to know where to start. But you have to start." He leaned in closer. "I'll give you one clue, Maya. The biggest breakthroughs in history didn't come from people who had all the answers. They came from people who weren't afraid to ask the right questions." Maya nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. This was it. This was her shot. But then, just as she was about to speak, Elon's phone buzzed, interrupting the moment. He glanced down, checking the message quickly before turning back to her. "I'm sorry," he said, standing up. "But I've got to run. The meeting's starting." Maya felt a sudden rush of uncertainty. Was this it? Was the conversation over? Had he just given her a challenge and walked away, leaving her to figure it all out alone? Before she could say another word, Elon put his hand on her shoulder and smiled. "Don't worry, Maya. You've got this. Just remember what you do next is what matters." With that, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Maya stood there, still processing what had just happened. She had been handed an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime chance. But what would she do with it? As she walked out of the conference center, her mind was flooded with a million questions. But one thing was certain, Maya's journey had just begun. And the path she was about to take was far more unpredictable and life-changing than she could ever have imagined. Maya left the conference that day with a mind full of questions and a heart full of determination. She couldn't quite believe what had just happened. One moment, she was a young girl from Atlanta, with a dream bigger than her circumstances, and the next, she was standing on the precipice of an opportunity that could change her life forever. But Elon Musk's challenge haunted her. What was she supposed to do next? He hadn't given her a map. He hadn't told her the steps to follow. He had simply handed her a blank canvas and told her to create something incredible. Something that could change the world. She spent the next few weeks lost in thought. She didn't sleep much, staying up late into the night, scouring the internet, brainstorming, and writing down ideas. She thought about her community, about all the things she wanted to fix. There were so many problems in the world, so many things that needed change, but where did she even start? One night, as she sat by her window, looking at the city lights below, something clicked. Maya had always believed that change didn't come from the top down, it came from the ground up. From the people. From those who had been overlooked, ignored, and underestimated. It was the small voices that could spark the greatest revolutions. With that, Maya realized she knew exactly what her mission was. To create a platform where young, overlooked voices could be heard, where people like her, who had ideas but no resources, could finally be given a chance. It wasn't a new tech startup or a billion-dollar app. It wasn't a flashy invention. It was simple. It was a place for people to tell their stories, share their experiences, and, most importantly, be heard. A platform that would empower people from underrepresented communities, giving them the tools to reach their full potential. Maya threw herself into her idea with everything she had. She didn't have investors or a tech team, but she didn't need them, not yet. She started by organizing small meetups, talking to people in her neighborhood, and building relationships with people who shared her vision. She created social media pages, wrote blogs, and worked tirelessly, often going without sleep, but never without purpose. Then, one day, after months of hard work, something incredible happened. Elon Musk reached out to her. It wasn't a grand gesture, like you might expect. There were no fireworks, no huge announcement. Instead, she received a simple email that read, "Maya, I've been watching your progress. You've been doing great work. I'd like to help you take this to the next level." Maya's heart nearly stopped. She couldn't believe it. Was this real? Was Elon Musk actually offering to help her? She immediately responded, her hands trembling with excitement. When they finally met again, Elon didn't say much. Instead, he just smiled and handed her a check. It wasn't $1 million check, but it was enough to get her project off the ground. Enough to give her the resources she needed to turn her vision into a reality. But it wasn't the money that made the difference, it was the belief. The belief that someone like Elon Musk, one of the most influential people in the world, had seen potential in a young girl from Atlanta, had seen the power of her idea, and had decided to invest in her future. In the months that followed, Maya's platform grew. It became a hub for innovation, for creativity, and for people to find their voices. She brought together young people from all walks of life, artists, entrepreneurs, activists, and created a community where everyone had something valuable to offer. She didn't just change her life, she changed the lives of countless others. As for Elon, he continued to support her in subtle ways, sharing her progress, offering advice when needed, and always reminding her of the most important lesson he had taught her. The biggest breakthroughs don't come from having all the answers. They come from having the courage to ask the right questions. Maya's story became a symbol of what was possible when you dared to dream big, when you took the leap without knowing where you would land. She had asked for a chance, and Elon Musk had given it to her, not just with his resources, but with his belief in her ability to make a difference. So, when people asked her how she did it, Maya would smile and say, "I didn't know where to start. But I knew that I had to start." And just like that, Maya had proven that sometimes, the most unexpected moments can lead to the most incredible journeys. Because in the end, it wasn't the billionaires or the big names that made her story special, it was her belief in herself and the courage to chase a dream that, at one point, seemed impossible. And that, she realized, was all she ever needed. The end.